Wherever you are, find a comfortable seated position. Now, if you are in bed and it's quite soft and you're sinking down and you don't feel supported, grab yourself a little bit more of a firm cushion and sit on that, just so your back is happy with you. Okay? So allow your eyes to close. Just nice and softly. We're not forcing anything. Let your belly be soft and relaxed. Let your shoulders be heavy and drop down. Just taking your left hand to the right side of your face or your head and just gently pulling down. Just very gentle. This other hand can reach down to the bed beside you. Maybe if you're on the edge, it can hold on. Or if you're on a block or a chair, you can hold on to the side of the chair. And we'll release. And to the other side, the same thing. So just gentle pressure. You're not pulling too hard here. Just nice and gentle. Just pay attention to your breath. Try and let the breath flow naturally. We don't need to do two big breaths, just natural. And release. Just take your hands behind you and you can either place them onto the small of your back or you can interlace your hands. So we're not going to pull the arms straight if the hands are interlaced. Just keep the elbows bent, roll the shoulders back so your collarbones are really open, and then reach the hands back away from you. So lengthening away. And as you feel the muscles in the front of your chest and shoulders maybe release just a little bit, you can reach your chest up, maybe lifting your chin, keeping the arms reaching away. And as you inhale in this position, you'll feel a really big increase in the stretch. You don't have to do much to feel it. Again, trying to keep the breath fluid. And then release. And we'll fold forwards. So if your legs are crossed, as mine are, that's fine. You can keep them or you can go soles together. And just allow your body to relax forwards. So again, just adjusting as you need to. Feel free to remove the cushion, add a cushion. Maybe as your hips relax, you can take a cushion away. You'll sink further down. And then staying in this position, we're just going to lift one arm up. So keeping your torso as still as you can, just reaching that arm up. Feel the back of your body engage and bring it down, and reaching the other arm up. So aiming to keep the torso still rather than twisting out to the side. Core engaged lightly and relax. Creeping yourself up, and if you have your legs crossed, we'll switch over and then folding down again. So let's start to use the breath here in a different way. So draw the air in through your nose, and then as you exhale, just open your mouth to release the air. And that exhalation with a release should help to indicate to your muscles to release as well. And if you're not in a room with people who are going to think you're a little bit crazy, take a big sigh out. Like an audible letting go. And do that just a few times. And the more dramatic and big you make your sigh, the more relaxing it will be for both your brain and your body. Okay, now we're going to slide forwards. If you are like me, kind of half hanging off the bed with your arms, don't slide or you're going to fall on the floor. I'm going to adjust so you can see. Your hands will be slightly wider than your shoulders, just a little bit. You're up on your knees and you're going to bring your chest forwards. Now, we did say we were going to get a little bit intimate. This is a great stretch for your upper back and your shoulders. So if you feel that you're kind of suffocating yourself, turn your head to the side. Or you can put your forehead down if your chin doesn't reach the floor. And the other useful tip is to place a cushion or something just under your forehead, if needs be, so that your nose is not pressing down into the surface, whether you're in a bed or on a flat surface. So still holding there, guys. I want you to feel that you're pulling your belly away from your thighs. So the stretch is more about the mid and upper back rather than your lower back extending. So keep the abdominals drawing in slightly, and if anything, try and lengthen that lower back. I'm just going to circle my feet because I can. I'm hanging off the side. Just giving a little bit of mobility there. And then just bringing yourself forwards to lie down on your belly, wherever you are. Good. So here, if you like, you can take a pillow under your head if that's comfortable and turn to the side. And we'll just reach back and grab one foot. So bringing the heel towards your butt. Now, if you are on a bed, you might find that because it's soft, you sink down with your hips, so you lose a bit of the stretch. So what I'd like you to try and do is just gently push your foot into your hand, drawing the hips down into the surface beneath you, so you feel a stretch in the front of your thigh. Still using the breath here. So again, if you want, maybe pushing a foot into your hand, only if there's no pain in your knee as you do so, and you can lengthen up with your torso. So coming to the elbow, or possibly coming up to your hand, but always being gentle, especially it's first thing in the morning. So you don't want to overdo it straight away. And we'll release back down. So switching over to the other side. And you might find that one side is different than the other. That's very common. One side feels more flexible in certain places and the other side feels tighter. Nothing strange or unusual about that, so don't worry. Again, pressing your hips down into the surface beneath you and then gently pushing your foot into your hand to find an increase of the stretch, whilst also squeezing your glutes slightly, pressing them down into the surface below you. And then maybe bringing yourself up to a forearm or maybe straight arm. Continuing to breathe. Finding expansion across the front of your chest and length through your spine. Remember, we're looking for a stretch sensation. We're not looking for pain and we're not looking for comfortable. So when you feel that stretch sensation, hold that. And if it dissipates, then you can move further into a stretch. So once it goes, don't think, oh yeah, now I feel good. Take it a little bit further or deeper if that's what is appropriate for you. So let's release, and we've just arched the spine quite a lot, so let's give that a little bit of relief, coming into a child's pose. So dropping your hips back. You might prefer to have knees slightly wider or slightly closer. really depends on your body, and fold forwards. So another thing you might like to do to help encourage you in a passive way to round the spine is pop a cushion or a pillow underneath your belly. And that can help just to give a little bit of an extra rounding in the back without effort. Lovely. Let's bring it up. So we're coming to seated again. If you felt you were sinking down with your hips, again, sit onto a cushion or a pillow, and we'll take our legs out wide. So if you have a belt or a dressing gown strap or a yoga strap, go ahead and grab that if you want to. You don't have to, but sometimes it can just be nice as a tool to help us and keep everything else relaxed. So if you are using it, you're holding one side each with one hand, and you're going to bring your elbows in and lower down. So you're pulling on the strap whilst being able to keep your upper body fairly relaxed. And we're taking a look at our toes, thinking, yeah, I really need to get a pedicure. It's been a while. It's been a while, guys. Last time we were out of lockdown and allowed to do that, when was it, last summer? I had my nails done. Oh, a heron has just flown and landed. Sorry, I wish you could see that. I had my nails done, and then lockdown happened, and my toenail varnish grew out almost completely. I had like purple tips. And we're sinking further and further down. Nice, gently bring yourself up, and we'll go to the other side. So using that strap again, elbows in to help relax your upper body, your arms, so you're not straining, reaching for anything, but you're also getting a little bit of tension in the back of the leg. So this leg is a lot tighter for me. I don't know about you, you might find that one side is different than the other. So just being aware of that is helpful and important. Doesn't mean you need to do anything differently, but perhaps spend a little bit more time on the side that you find is more restricted, and that might mean stretching it more. It might also mean strengthening it more. So don't just try one thing. If you notice one side is, feeling different than the other side, not as good in some way. Not that I like to use that word, but you know what I mean. And it's early. I'm surprised I haven't called my shoulder my elbow yet. That's common. So we'll release from there. Okay, lying down onto your back. Bring your knees into your chest, guys. Have a little rock, maybe whatever feels good for you right now. Maybe stillness feels better. Whatever works for you. Okay, we'll place one leg down. Can either be with the foot down on the floor and the knee bent, or you can straighten that leg out, whatever feels good for you right now. Take the other leg up into the air. And we're just going to do some little circles with that leg. So just stirring around, moving the thigh in your hip socket, the thigh bone, and then reverse your circles. Taking care, if you're doing big circles, not to knock anything over. That would be my fear. Okay, bend that knee down towards your armpit, and we're going to reach to the outside edge of the foot, or you can use your middle finger and index finger and grab your big toe, same arm to leg, and just draw it down. So pull it down towards your armpit, trying to keep everything else down. So we're now not lifting the opposite hip up, we're still pushing that hip down into the bed or the mat, wherever you are. Breathing here. Don't need to do massive deep breaths, just what's needed. Now we're going to add a little bit of movement. So inhale, and then as you exhale, you're reaching that leg away. Maybe it straightens, maybe it doesn't. Bend it as you inhale. As you exhale, lengthen it away. Inhale, you bend. Exhale. Straight or straight-ish. And you can let go of the leg if that's more comfortable for you. We'll do one more and then hold the leg extended. So take it out, hold it there. Gently easing that leg down towards your surface. Now remember, I'm sinking down into the bed, so if you're on a hard floor, it looks like my leg's all the way down, but if I was on a hard surface, it would not be touching the floor. So don't be concerned about that. Just go to wherever you are comfortable going to. Just relaxed here. And now we're just going to flex and point the foot. So flexing the foot, pressing away through the heel, and then pointing your toes. So getting some work, some mobility into the ankles, and we're gliding the nerves as well. Just two more. Keeping it chilled, guys. Lovely. Drawing that leg, bend the knee first, draw it up and over to the other side. So we're going to find a nice twist. Reaching the opposite arm over, drawing that leg across. Again, it's very easy for me to keep both shoulders down because I'm on a squishy surface, so I'm sinking in. But you're aiming to keep your shoulders on the floor. If that means your knee is floating in the air, that's fine. You could come and support it with a block or a cushion underneath your knee if it's kind of just hanging in the air. So just be aware of that. And you might find in the twisted positions that you find it very difficult to breathe fully. So really concentrate and focus on trying to expand your rib cage with air, and you'll feel that that actually helps to increase the sensation of stretching. And that when you exhale, maybe you can move a little bit more deeply into the stretch. And we'll gently release back over onto our backs, and we'll go to the other side. So whatever you did with the other leg, whether it was extended away or foot down, do that on this side. Straight up in the air, and just start to draw little circles with that leg. Just getting the hip moving. If that feels super uncomfortable, you could always bend your knee. And we'll reverse, go the opposite direction. Good. Last one. So we're going to bend that knee in towards the armpit. So pulling it down. Remember, index finger, middle finger, same arm as leg, or you can hold on to the foot with your hand. Whatever works for you. If you can't quite reach, again, you can use your strap. The same thing as before, just hook it around the sole of your foot. That's going to be in the way. Lovely. So just holding into that stretch. Nice deep breaths. One's doing good. And we'll start to extend the leg and bend again. Extend, remember, it doesn't have to fully straighten. If you have that range, then definitely move through it. but we're not going to be trying to force something that's not there yet. Okay, so just go to your limit. Maybe try and push through that a little bit, but be gentle because it's early in the day. Sometimes our bodies take a little bit of time to wake up. By the way, if you're kind of feeling some weird kind of cracky poppy stuff, mine is doing that too. So it's okay, as long as there's no pain, guys. You don't want any pain. Hold it out, lengthen, and flex and point. Flex and point. Good. Using your breath. Little bend into the knee, bring it up and over to the other side. And again, we'll find that lovely twist. So trying to reach the hip over, but keeping our shoulders down on whatever surface we're on. Increasing the breadth of your breath and the depth of your breath. So feeling that expansion in your rib cage. Good. And we'll roll over onto our front, wherever you are, lying down, and lengthen up. You can come onto your forearms, you can come to straight arms. So nice length through the spine. Deep breaths here. Reach your chest forwards. Think about pushing your pubic bone downwards so that you're not increasing the arch in the spine by kind of sticking your butt up in the air. Instead, push it down and lengthen through that lower back. Try and reach your chest forwards. If you have, like me, a little bit of grip here, you can pull against that with your hands as if you're trying to reach your chest over to that side of the room. Keeping the hips pressing down and keeping the breath flowing as always. Release. Okay, guys. So wherever you are, if you're like me on a bed, you can come off the bed to the side. If you're in another space, find some kind of surface or even a wall that you can press your hands, a flat wall that you can press your hands against. And we're going to press our hands either against the wall or on this surface and move back to find some length in the spine. Again, you can be pushing your hands against the wall. They can be pressing down on whatever surface. Round your spine. So abs in, look towards your thighs. Hopefully you can still hear me talking to my belly. And then lengthen out. So really here, try and arch your back, stick your butt out. Good, and round. Sink down. So keep doing that. As you're doing that, as you're sinking down, don't let your arms internally rotate. So don't let the pointy part of your elbow start to come out and up. Instead, think about drawing it around and down so that you have the correct position of your arms and your shoulders for finding that stretch. You don't want them going up, and then, so if you have a sensation of your shoulders coming up and around towards your ears, instead you want them to move the other way. So moving through that rounding and lengthening. Good, and bring yourself up. So if, like me, you are using a bed or you have a sofa or a chair or something, we're going to step one leg up and come into a lunge. If you're on a hard surface on the floor, you can do a normal lunge. So you will be knee above ankle on the floor, toes tucked under at the back. So here, this is quite nice way to do it, so you're not putting lots of pressure on your wrists as well. And just drawing that hip forwards towards the bed or towards the floor. So if you're in a normal lunge, your toes are tucked under, your back leg is nice and lengthened. If you are as I am, maybe try and press the heel towards the ground as you press forwards, and then you will also be stretching your calf. I know you can't see my foot, can you? But pressing that heel down towards the ground and trying to push your hips towards the bed or surface or whatever place you're in. Someone is loving this. I've got a load of hearts. Feeling good, guys. That feels amazing for me. I'm feeling that in the front of this hip here. Lovely hip flexor stretch. So actually, if I push in and my heel down, I'm finding a stretch in my calf as well. And maybe I even release my hands, but only do that if you feel comfortable to do that. Morning, Kylie. So guys, we're going to take a little bit of a twist. If you are as I am and you feel comfortable to do so, you can keep one hand on the bed, or you can bring both hands here and you're going to try and rotate yourself. If you're in a normal lunge on the floor, again, you can bring the elbow across. One hand might be down. You can use blocks under your hands. If your back leg is getting tired, pop your knee to the floor. Lovely. Let's release that. And we're going to stretch out. So the front leg is stretching out, toes come up. If you're as I am, just copying me, if you're on the floor, you're bending your back leg. So the toes are tucked under, you're sending your hips back, straightening the front leg. Morning, Kelly. Morning, rise and shine stretch from the bed. It's great to have you guys here. I hope you're all set for having an awesome day. I know some of us started last night with Zoe. Cool refit class. So don't forget, if you miss any sections, any sessions that you want to do, you can always do them in the catch-up group. So do make sure you get your catch-up pass. Really good value, and loads of sessions that you can keep doing. So again, just moving forwards, we're just going to get a little bit of movement here and mobility and back. So trying to move through the full range that you created now, using some muscles to do the work. So as much as you can, driving the hips forwards and then sending the hips back, pulling the thigh up, so contracting the front of that leg there. And then here, squeezing your glutes, driving the hips forwards. Using your breath, exhale through your effort. And back. Good. Okay, take that leg carefully off the bed or around if you're on the floor, and we'll step the other leg through. So always feels a bit weird doing the second side lunge because your hips are used to being the other way. So take it easy when you first get into that position. If you're on the floor, knee above your ankle, back leg extended with the toes tucked under. Hello, Sophie Burnham. How are you doing, lovely lady? Guys, pressing the hip towards the bed, the heel down towards the floor. If you're on the floor in a lunge position, toes are tucked under, reaching your heel away behind you. And if you are on the floor and your wrists are unhappy, you can make fists and just keep your wrists straight. Make sure you're not bending the wrists, and that will help your wrists. Cool. Pressing that back heel towards the floor if you are as I am, trying to find a little bit of stretch in that calf as well. And then extending back. So the front leg is stretched out, the hips are as square as possible. In other words, try not to twist them like that. Using the breath. So remember, if you're on the floor, that front leg is stretched out. You can either be kneeling with your butt down on the back leg or just have the bent knee, hips up, whatever works best for you. And if you struggle to reach down to the floor with your hands and you have yoga blocks, then put your hands on the yoga blocks. Okay, let's move forwards with the hips and extending back. So again, thinking about the muscles that you can engage here to help to increase the stretch and to help to strengthen in that position. And extend back. Good. We'll do 2 more. Inhaling forwards, exhaling back. Inhaling forwards and exhaling back. Good. And release. Okay guys, we're going to sit. So wherever you are, if you're on the floor, you're going to come into a seated glute. If you're on a bed or a sofa or a chair, let me move this side, I think you can see. You can sit like so. So nice comfortable position, crossed over, and you can fold down like this. So using the gravity of the upper body to find that stretch, or you can lie back. Oh, Sophie, that sounds amazing. I'm definitely going to check that out later. Oh, my face reading that message. You know when you look at yourself and you just think, gosh, I look ridiculous. Yay, Sophie. Okay, so drawing either folding forwards as I was showing you there on the side of the bed, or you can be lying down in a normal glute stretch position. So ankle across the knee, or across the thigh really, just above the knee, and drawing it in towards you. So as you do that, you don't want this knee to creep up towards your chest. You want to be pressing it away as you draw the thigh in towards your body. Okay? So keep that going. Ah, Sophie, perfect on the bench, exactly. And this is a great one if you're just out and about, you're walking, doing some exercise outside, and you're taking a rest. You can sit down. What we were doing on the bed before with the foot up on the bed, you can do that on a bench. It's perfect. So take all this stuff and use it when you're out and about, definitely. Woo. Let's switch over. So again, if you're sitting down, just cross that ankle over your thigh, thinking about this knee pressing away from you. So if you're sitting up, wherever you're sitting up, this knee of the crossed over leg is pressing downwards as you fold your body forwards. Trying to keep length in the spine always as we're doing that, because the aim is here we want to hinge at the hips, not flex the spine. So if you're flexing the spine, that has no effect on the muscles that we're stretching here. So thinking length through your body. So drawing that in, whichever option you prefer, go for that. Good. Okay. Guys, wherever you are, you want to find a cushion or 2 cushions or a pillow to go underneath your back. Start off with less and then maybe you add more. And we're just going to lie over the cushions and get a nice relaxing stretch into the back. If you are doing this on a bed, I'm going to put cushions there in case I'm really clumsy and fall on my head. You could lie on your bed and let your upper body hang down, like so. Ah, that feels nice. Bit of gravity. Just be careful if you are doing this when you come up, because obviously might be getting a bit of blood to the head. Letting yourself just hang out here. If you're on a park bench, you can maybe lie on the bench with your legs up and look like you've had a really heavy night. Otherwise, you could sit on the bench and lengthen up as long as it's not going to fall over backwards, and reach over the back of the bench. Just really lengthening through your spine. And wherever you are, bringing yourself up gently, no rushing of blood to the hip. So now we're going to do hip flexors. So you need to move the cushion down to underneath your hips. So if you were hanging off the bed, just be careful. You're going to bring the cushion underneath our hips, pull one knee into the chest as tight as you can. So really hanging up there with that leg and then letting the other leg extend away. And what you can do if you're on a bed is then have your legs hanging off. So again, pulling that knee right in, getting it right into the chest, and then letting the other leg reach away. Increase that by raising the hips up. And the cushion should be underneath your hips and not underneath your lower back, because that will just increase the arch of the spine, which is not what we want. We want the spine to be lengthened, which is why we're pulling this knee tightly into the chest to keep the lower back down onto whatever surface we're on. And then switching over. So again, draw the knee in first. Sometimes it's helpful to push down with that leg to really draw the knee in, and then we can extend away. Relaxing into that hip flexor stretch. And release. Now we're going to take our cushion or pillow underneath our side. And again, you can increase this by layering them up and just lying sideways. We're going to find a side stretch. So you want more, add more underneath you. Now, here the temptation is to roll forwards or back, but try and keep yourself completely sideways on, and you want to pull this hip down. So anchoring that hip down and reaching this arm up and over away. Deep breaths. So I know there's lots of sessions going on today. You might find that you want to come back to this later. And you could use it as your stretch before going to bed. Get yourself set up and ready for a good night's sleep after working out for most of the day. With all of the awesome sessions that you've got available to you here. I can see some hearts and some thumbs up happening right now. Release that. Let's go to the other side. So you probably find you now feel that one side is a lot longer than the other. So again, start with one and then add the other if it feels appropriate for you. Always best. Especially if you're doing something new for the first time, or if you're doing it at a different time of day. I rarely work out in the morning. I'm not a morning person at all. I'm surprised that my words are actually coming out properly. I think they have been. Have they been? Hopefully. Give yourself a good stretch over. Cool. Good, pouring it up. Well done, team. Okay, we're going to sit. Actually, I want you to sit on a high pile of cushions. Mine are quite firm. I've got two. Legs out in front of you. So the reason that I've asked you to sit on something to elevate your hips is that gravity is then going to help us to move forwards. so it'll be a little bit more effective. If you're reaching your feet, give them a little massage. Feel the insteps of your feet. Press your thumbs in and just give them a little bit of a massage, a bit of stimulation. Maybe moving the toes as well, pulling them down, pressing them away. And you can even start to separate your toes. Just give them a little bit of a wiggle and a move. Something we don't do a lot of, right? Unless maybe you're used to dancing, maybe you're a bit more used to touching your feet. Good. If you can't reach your feet with straight legs, you can bend your knees a little bit and give your feet some love. No excuse. Give your feet some love. But maybe elevating your hips has allowed you to reach that way. So if you feel that you kind of relaxed enough, you're like, oh, okay, I've gone down a bit. Let's try taking a cushion away and go back, so slightly different. A little bit of wiggle of the toes if you want. And then we'll bring the soles of the feet together. And you can make your way all the way down if you want to. And just stretching forwards. So again, having a feeling of lengthening your spine towards and past your feet with your face, rather than rounding and bringing your head towards your feet. So thinking length, reaching the collarbones wide. Nice deep breaths. And bring your torso up. Let's reach one hand down to the side, up and over. Nice big side bend. Again, use this hand to push away so you don't topple over. And also that's going to help to anchor this hip down to really increase the stretch. And then round yourself forward. So you're kind of diagonally reaching away and your head is coming towards your knee. Try and increase the depth of your breath here. And bringing yourself up and over. Reach up with the other arm. Over to the side initially. Well done, guys. Big stretch over to the side. Keeping your breath flowing. Remember, side bends and twists. It's always a little bit more challenging to breathe. And then reaching away diagonally. Just keeping the neck long, so you're looking down towards your knee. And bring it up. Fold your right knee in, extend that leg up in front of you. Maybe it's bent, maybe it's straight. You can hold wherever is appropriate for you. You can use your strap. Your leg is further away. Whatever is good for you. And now rotate this leg. You want to rotate it in your hip socket. So you're turning the leg all the way from the top. Rotating in. So toes are pointing inwards a little bit. And that movement is coming from your hips. So your knee is also pointing in the same direction as your toes. If you are not sitting on a bed, or if you feel like you're going to fall backwards, you can move and sit against a wall or against a sofa, or if you're in your bed, move back and sit against the back of the bed, the headboard, and rotate so the toes are pointing outwards. Now again, the movement is from the top of the leg, so your knee is pointing in that same direction. lengthening your chest up towards your shin or your calf. Take a little bend and extend if that feels good, and really sit down. And we'll go with the other leg, same thing. So feel free to use your strap if you want to, or just holding that leg up. I turn side so my leg is not in front of my face, because you all came to see this, didn't you? Okay guys, so rotating that leg in and out from the hip socket. You might find that one leg moves a little bit better than the other. This one for me is a lot more challenging. It's a bit stiffer, this leg. Leave the toes in, so we've rotated inwards, internal rotation of that leg. Woo! Breathe through it. You can do a little bend and straighten if that feels good for you. And now rotate outwards, so external rotation. Nice deep breaths. Keep that breathing. Okay. Oh, a letter. Is that you? Did you just join us? Are you in bed too? Good. Let's release it. Guys, before we end, because we can, well, let's see if we can. We're in bed. We can give it a go. Again, you can use something underneath your hips, cushion, blocks, whatever. We're going to try a split. Put one leg in front. So again, if you're on a harder surface, you can use yoga blocks under your hands, stick cushions or pillows under the front or back leg, or directly underneath your hips. Maybe your back knee is bent and on the floor. That's cool too. Maybe you find that you can take them away. A little bit easier on the bed. I'm not really doing the split because my leg is hanging down. So please don't be concerned about that. Let's try the other side. This is fun, isn't it? I think I should teach all my classes from bed. And then we go straight to bed. This side is a lot more challenging for me. How about you guys? I want you to tell me which one's easier, right leg forwards or left leg forwards? I know you can't speak, but you've got to type it after. If you can reach it, type it now. It will distract you. Mine looks more like hurdles. That's cool too. If I was on a hard surface, mine would be looking like that as well. No worries. And release. Guys, little bit of movement side to side. Let's take a breath in. Exhale. Good. And again, breathe in. Well done, everybody. Rise and shine.